I'd like to touch on, since our company is not that big company, small company, probably many of you may not know who we are. But I'd like to touch on what we do, who we are, and what is our business competency for Yamato. Yamato was founded in 1919 as a charter-based truck services in Japan. At that time, there are only 204 trucks available in Japan. We started with 4 trucks. 1976, we had a new innovation, which is now our business competency. We shifted to last mile delivery called Takyubi, door-to-door express delivery in Japan. As the chart shows, that we handle 2.3 billion parcels per year, which is about 46.7% of the Japanese market, both in ambient and also cold chain delivery, resulting in gross sales is $12 billion. Notably, we are the only first one in the world who started the last mile delivery in temperature control, which is called cold chain, in 1988. So we'd like to be the real social infrastructure to comply with the essential services for the society and the people. Next, our relationship with Taiwan. Among the 24 countries and trusted and transnational corporation since 2000. So 25-year anniversary is just around the corner next year. One of their core competency is the temperatures in Taiwan in accordance with the ISO 23412, which will be explained to you later. So we align with the Taiwan President Transnet. Obviously, we are handling the cold chain market in Taiwan. However, next step for us is how we can be of the social infrastructure, focusing on environmental issues globally. What is it that Yamato strategic direction is really focusing on the international ISO, which means standardization to the society? To be the social infrastructure, what we need to have is a social advocacy. Management and operation of what we do, what you do, has to be objectively endorsed and judged. Secondly, we need to be transparent, whatever we do. And thirdly, we need to have integrity, not only on just a business focus, but we need to be the solution provider for all the items and problems that society faces. More likely, we need to have a vision, #planet. What planet is needed? It's our goal. So in order to implement that, we believe the ISO, international standards, links all the stakeholders in all global supply chains, whatever the business you are aligned with. And also ISO is the means to create a new market for us. So that is our standardization strategy. For your information, 2021, ISO, Swiss Headquarters Office, they published the vision. Very simple. One sentence: making lives easier, safer, and better. This is only the vision. And what are the key drivers for the change is economy, technology, and society, and the environment. So I'd like to remind you, whatever we do, this concept is very much rooted. From next year, ISO TC315, which is a cold chain logistics. I'll be acting as a international chairman of TC315. Cold chain is decisive. However, cold chain must pay attention to environmental issues. That's why this strategy and direction is very important in accordance with the ISO visions. So that's one thing I'd like to share with you. Next page, only one page, but this is the basic Yamato strategic direction for international standardization ISO. Why we started? I'd like to give you a very short story. 2011 and 12, I was in charge of the Global Business Development Executive Officer. My goal was to export last mile delivery, which is the Cuban business, to Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And I put cold chain as the value-added service to a business. But reality was awareness about food safety, awareness about trusted delivery mode under cold chain was very shallow. So such small company as Yamato were not really able to grasp and develop the market in those destination countries. So what we did was, let's create the standardization ISU to compete, to create market, to take a business advantage. So this is the purely strategic tactics and direction. Thus, this is one of the examples we did for cold chain. Now we are shifting to environmental concern, climate change, standardization as well as business, which means the monetization. Concerning the climate change and the environment, is very dispensable, of course. As it shows that for logistics and transport industry mitigating is not yet enough. 25% of the greenhouse gas, CO2, is arising from the transport and logistics sector globally. So what it needs is that what is the goal for us to be a part of this mitigation reduction process, and how? Let's put it in this agenda for Yamato case. By source, by mode, it shows 57% of the emission is generated by in-house of Yamato, which means scope 1 and 2. And 47% is caused by our contract partners for line haul and last one. And the total amount of the CO2, it's not really proud to be the number that we show. On a basis, we handle 6.5 million household rupees in Japan. Per day, all the distance caused from pickup, line haul, to last 1 mile per day, handling 6.5 million. The distance is equivalent to 52 times around the earth per day basis. That means 2.3 billion we deliver. How much of CO2 we produce is not something that we can be proud of. 2.5 million tons, and 11% of the total volume is under temperature control. Okay. How we contribute. Was ISO created? ISO 14068, part 1. This is the carbon neutrality. And I want you to remember one thing. This ISO was published November 31st last year. Very unique ISO. But who made the origins of this ISO 14068 and PAS 2060? It's Taiwan. Taiwan made the 2014 this PAS published. Taiwan had very long-term vision of how Taiwan can be leading global CO2 greenhouse emission issues, for which we are very, very proud of, and for which we are very proud of that we aligned with 14068. This year, January the 30th, we are the first courier service who aligned with ISO 14061. Entire volume we handle, 2.3 billion, is under carbon neutral delivery. So we believe it is the must indispensable workload we have to see. And another thing is, as the bottom says, Taiwan Stock Exchange announced that it has become the world's first exchange to be awarded ISO, carbon neutral. Taiwan Stock Exchange is a carbon neutral stock exchange. Only one stock exchange in the world available. So how are we going to deal with this carbon neutral, maintain carbon neutrality? As you all know, to be the carbon neutral delivery provider, we have to actually cover up the three agendas. One is the quantification of carbon footprint. Second, how much we reduce. And third, so currently, there's a lot of discussion in the world. Some people say greenwash, okay? Number two says financial contribution to climate change mitigation, simply to say it's a carbon credit. Third, compensation of unabated emission. This is offset. So among the 2.5 million CO2 emission, we have two choices. One is you claim carbon neutrality under organization or the product. We selected product basis because two reasons. Global agenda 2050, everybody is required to be net zero, okay? But actually committed this midterm strategy. Target is by 2050, net zero must be achieved. Secondly, to actually effectively work with the all the stakeholders. Yamato has demonstrated working with Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, which is the governing ministry of Japan, in energy and also sanitization and industry and economy. What we are now doing is that there's a fund called Green Innovation Fund, which we have allocated. We have been allocated. The experiment we do is green delivery ecosystem. EV, time able to actually digest all the agenda on the globe. It is needed that the alliance partners who share the same vision, hashtag for the planet, must be achieved. Yamato has a high hope and intent to work further with Taiwan, and up to here, I have many agenda to be disclosed, but not yet. Very soon, you will hear the very positive news, what we are now working with Taiwan, and what we will be, and Japan, Taiwan will be, we hope, the key leader and pioneer in this field for the environment. and also for changes, and we call the essential development. Thank you very much.
One of the most important things is really the aging society. The society is changing now. I think in Taiwan, in Japan, in a lot of developing countries, you know that there's an age divide. Younger people, older women are very different. So from a user perspective, generations of people living at the same time. Right now we have 5 generations of living people together. And also the social media, you are all using social media. From the traditional thinking about hardware defined. And the small company, Neural, it's very good. They do autonomous delivery of merchandise. They're doing that very well. They sell their autonomous technology to other OEMs, the shuttle bus. So they have committed originally to supply electric vehicles about EV and also autonomous vehicle usage. If you watch much news in the US, you will see a lot of analyst commentaries. They always ask mental sustainable way. That's intelligence. It's very long, I know that, but that's my definition of intelligence. If you can do that, you have Taiwan intelligence inside. So have to address about what's in there. So that's the Taiwan intelligence. I'd like to see more of that in the future mobility world. I use the mobility world rather than the automotive world because people are more concerned about mobility than automobile these days. Okay? I mentioned about the 5 generations of people. Some people, they don't really care what's the automobile. You just get me from here to there in time, fast, right? So they only care the mobility. They don't care about the automobile. So I use the word a mobility war. How do Taiwan create value? You know, you've seen this chart probably way back, talk about the value chain. Do we add our value so that because Taiwan have the design, or we have the best manufacturing capability, or we have the best assembly, and also we have the best service? That's the question. Right now, everybody will point out manufacturing, right? Taiwan's ability is the manufacturing. That's a question. Taiwan's intelligence. Taiwan need to do the following things. We already have this special manufacturing capability, know-how. Everybody knows that, you know. The quality control is technology's sake. We have to understand our user. As I mentioned, there are 5 generations of users right now. You know that you see some of the rental car, electric vehicle rental car. For the younger people, this is the way to go. That's why they get a mobility. They don't need to own a car. Okay? This, you may not be to read this thing, but this is a ranking of all the automotive company in terms of their software capability. You see which is number 1? Tesla. You see where the traditional automotive company toward the very end. General Motors, Toyota, Ford, is still people to drive it in the dark, in the night. In the United States, about 1/3 of the people of my age do not drive it during the night. If you can have a car, can help those of you to drive, you can sell a lot of vehicles. Fine technology development. Here, the workshop, we come up with a lot of critical technology. I'm not going to get into that, okay? So what are the technology we need to have to solve the problems I just mentioned? So that's how you do problem-based technology development. With that, then people can talk about what we might do, what Taiwan might do. And then look at what we should do, and look at what we can do, and what we will do. Don't do it in reverse. Don't decide what you'll do first, and then work back. Decide what we might do first, and then go to what we will do. And with that, you can maybe one day to really get into the AEV, autonomous electric vehicle world, and have not only electronics inside, and also have the
very much about Jimmy just said, the software-defined problem. We just experienced some of the software-defined weather time to get some success. Otherwise, the competition for us is more challenging, more difficult than all you think. That is my general comment for you. But we need to solve the problem one by one. Once it's solved, you need to define the new requirement, provide new specification, functional requirement. So in the automotive industry, the V chart is one of the, we call the display. From the top one, always scenario, based model, and how to achieve all the vision and goal, and then define your mission. You cannot do as a
automated system, regardless if this is in the automotive industry or in any other industry. And I think there we come in that safety and the trust of the people into that is of very, very high importance. And their regulation, standardization is the cornerstones. And there Germany is traditionally very strong in terms of standardization, in terms of conformity assessment, in terms of providing their trust into these systems. And I think there definitely also the exchange that you suggest, I would absolutely second that. And I myself is a very good example. When I was just in my early 20s, I actually was for 1 year at the Kyushu University as a research student, and this is where I met my wife, so I moved to Taiwan. And this is how I ended up, in the end, connecting cultures. When people ask me, what is your job in TÜV, I very often say, I'm a connector. Yeah? I'm connecting our German side of the company to our Asian side, right? Because by now we are, since the early 90s, since 91, we are in Taiwan, also then with a big operation in China or in Japan as well. And different cultures need to be able to talk to each other, and that is a challenge in itself.
看中间这边的摄影镜头。